The forgotten vessel. The salvage yard stretched like a metallic graveyard at the edge of human-controlled space, a testament to humanity's perpetual struggle against cosmic indifference. Dr. Elena stood motionless, her weathered hands tracing the outline of a massive hull fragment that seemed to whisper forgotten stories of interstellar conflict. Orbital Salvage Station Alpha 9 was more than just a workplace, it was a monument to human resilience. Here, discarded spacecraft from a dozen failed exploration missions found their final resting place. Most saw junk, Elena saw potential. Her reputation among space bureaucrats was complicated. They called her a dreamer, a waste of research funding. But those who truly understood innovation knew better. The fragment before her was different. Unlike the typical debris that populated the yard, this piece bore markings unlike anything in human or known alien archives. Its alloy composition defied standard spectral analysis, showing impossible metallurgical properties that made no sense to conventional science. "Computer," Elena called out, her voice cutting through the station's ambient hum, "run another molecular scan on fragment X-279. The station's AI, a temperamental system nicknamed Aria, Adaptive Responsive Intelligence Assistant, responded with a hint of digital exasperation. "Dr. Kovac, this will be the 37th comprehensive scan. Previous attempts have yielded inconclusive results." Elena smiled. Inconclusive meant there was something worth investigating. "Run it again," she insisted. As Aria processed the scan, Elena's mind drifted to her unconventional journey. Once a promising quantum engineering prodigy at the Europa Advanced Research Institute, she'd been cast out for proposing theories that challenged established scientific paradigms. Her research suggested that abandoned alien technology could be reverse-engineered to unlock revolutionary propulsion and energy systems. The scan completed, and for a moment, the station's systems flickered. Aria's usually calm voice carried an unusual tone of excitement. "Anomaly detected. Fragment X-279 contains quantum-entangled molecular structures previously unobserved in known scientific literature." Elena leaned closer, her heart racing. This was more than just another piece of space debris. This was a puzzle waiting to be solved. Her team, a motley crew of brilliant misfits who'd been rejected by traditional research institutions, began to gather. Marcus Reyes, a materials engineer with a reputation for impossible reconstructions. Dr. Kamil Nowak, a quantum physicist who'd been laughed out of academic circles for his radical theories about adaptive technological systems. And Zara Lin, a computational genius who could communicate with machines in ways that seemed almost mystical. "We're going to need more resources," Marcus muttered, examining the fragment's intricate surface patterns. "This isn't just a piece of a ship. It's a technological Rosetta Stone." Zara's fingers danced across holographic interfaces, running complex algorithms. "The molecular structure suggests a self-repairing system that adapts to environmental stresses. If we can understand its core principles, we might revolutionize space exploration technology." What they didn't know, what they couldn't yet understand, was that the fragment was more than just an artifact. It was a message. A challenge from something, or someone, that had been waiting to be discovered. The station's external sensors suddenly pinged. An unscheduled transmission was attempting to breach their communication protocols. Aria's voice carried a note of caution. "Incoming signal. Origin, unknown. Encryption, beyond current decryption capabilities." Elena exchanged glances with her team. This was how great discoveries began, at the intersection of the impossible and the unexpected. "Accept transmission," she commanded, her voice steady despite the electric anticipation coursing through her veins. Little did they know, the fragment they discovered was about to change everything humanity thought they knew about their place in the universe. The first echoes of a cosmic revolution were beginning to resonate. Unlikely crew. The transmission continued to pulse, a rhythmic pattern of data that defied conventional communication protocols. Elena Kovac watched as the holographic displays around her flickered with impossible mathematical sequences, each pulse revealing fragments of a language that seemed to exist between quantum states. "It's not just a message," Kamil Nowak muttered, his fingers racing across multiple interface panels. "It's more like an invitation." Marcus Reyes leaned in, his muscular frame tensed with anticipation. Years of working in extreme engineering environments had taught him to recognize potential, and this was potential incarnate. The fragment they discovered was singing a technological siren song, promising revelations beyond human comprehension. Zara Lynn, meanwhile, had disappeared into a neural interface, her consciousness dancing along the edges of the alien data stream. When she emerged, her eyes held a mix of excitement and something else, a hint of cosmic understanding that made the others uncomfortable. "We need more," she said simply. "This technology, it's alive. Not in the biological sense, but in a way we've never conceptualized before." The orbital salvage station had never been designed for breakthrough research. It was a utilitarian space, functional, cold, surrounded by the skeletal remains of failed expeditions and discarded dreams. But today, something fundamental was changing. Their first challenge came quickly. The fragment began to respond, not through traditional communication, but through subtle molecular transformations. Materials in the nearby research bay started to realign, creating intricate patterns that defied known physics. "Aria," Elena called out, "run a complete systems diagnostic. I want to know every microscopic change." The AI's response was uncharacteristically hesitant. "Dr. Kovac, the molecular restructuring is occurring at a rate that exceeds our monitoring capabilities. We are learning." It was Marcus who first articulated what they were all thinking. "We're not just studying this technology. It's studying us." Their makeshift research team was an unlikely collection of brilliant outcasts. Kamil, once a theoretical physicist whose quantum entanglement theories had been dismissed as academic fantasy. Zara, a computational genius who could communicate with machines in ways that bordered on the mystical. Marcus, an engineer who could rebuild entire mechanical systems from seemingly impossible fragments. And Elena, the conductor of this impossible orchestra, a woman who had built her entire career on finding potential where others saw only waste. The station's limited resources became both a constraint and an opportunity. Each modification, each experiment, required creative problem-solving that would have been impossible in a traditional research environment. They were building something unprecedented, piece by impossible piece. "We'll need a power source," Kamil announced, pulling up schematics that looked more like abstract art than scientific diagrams. "Something that can handle quantum-level energy fluctuations." Zara was already ahead of him. "I know someone. A fusion engineer who was kicked out of the European Space Consortium. Goes by the name of Arya Patel. She's been working on miniature fusion cores that could theoretically power entire space stations using minimal resources." Elena raised an eyebrow. "Another reject?" "The best kind of colleague," Marcus interjected with a knowing grin. As if on cue, the fragment pulsed again, this time with what could only be described as anticipation. It was as if the alien technology was assembling its own team, guiding their selection through subtle quantum nudges. The transmission continued, a cosmic heartbeat that promised transformation. Humanity stood on the precipice of something extraordinary, a technological renaissance born from the discarded, the rejected, the overlooked. Little did they know, their journey was being watched. Not just by the mysterious fragment, but by entities far beyond their current understanding, entities that had been waiting, watching, testing humanity's potential. The first act of a cosmic drama was about to unfold. Technological breakthrough. Arya Patel arrived at Orbital Salvage Station Alpha 9 like a force of nature, her compact frame belying an intellect that had terrified entire research committees. Her fusion core designs were more than just innovative, they were revolutionary. Compact enough to fit in a standard shipping container, yet powerful enough to potentially replace entire power grids. "You're either completely mad," she announced upon meeting Elena and the team, "or you're onto something that could change everything." The fragment, now lovingly dubbed the quantum catalyst by Camille, seemed to respond to Aria's arrival. Subtle energy fluctuations danced across its surface, creating patterns that looked like mathematical poetry. Aria, the station's AI, had been gradually transforming, its processing capabilities expanding in ways that defied its original programming. "The molecular structure is adapting," Camille explained, his fingers tracing holographic representations of the fragment's changing composition. "It's not just absorbing energy, it's learning, evolving." Aria's fusion core became the missing piece. When connected to the fragment, something extraordinary happened. The entire station seemed to breathe, systems realigning, computational networks expanding, boundaries between technology and consciousness blurring. Marcus discovered the first practical application. A damaged communication array, previously considered beyond repair, began to reconstruct itself. Not through traditional maintenance, but through a process that looked more like cellular regeneration than mechanical repair. "It's rewriting its own fundamental structure," Zara muttered, her neural interface pulsing with streams of data. "The fragment isn't just a piece of technology. It's a living system of information." Their work attracted attention, the kind of attention they'd spent years avoiding. Bureaucratic whispers began to circulate. Fragments of communication intercepted by Aria suggested that official channels were becoming aware of their breakthrough. "We're running out of time," Elena announced one evening, the station's artificial lighting casting long shadows across their makeshift laboratory. "Whatever we're discovering, we need to document it before someone tries to shut us down." The breakthrough came unexpectedly. During a routine scan, Aria discovered that the fusion core, when integrated with the fragment's quantum structure, could generate a form of propulsion that violated everything known about space travel. It wasn't just faster-than-light travel, it was a method of transportation that seemed to fold space itself. "It's like the universe is a piece of paper," Camille explained, his eyes wild with excitement, "and we've just found a way to fold it instead of traveling across it." But with every revelation came complexity. The fragment was communicating, not through language, but through intricate energy patterns that suggested a form of intelligence far beyond human comprehension. It was selecting them, guiding them, preparing them for something larger. Zara's neural interfaces began picking up increasingly complex signals. Patterns that suggested not just communication, but a kind of cosmic invitation. "We're being tested," she said one night, her voice distant. "This isn't just about technology. It's about potential." The official warning came 3 weeks into their research. A communiqué from the Interstellar Research Consortium, thinly veiled as a routine inspection notice. They knew. And they were coming. "We have 2 choices," Elena told her team, looking at the fragment that had become the center of their universe. "We can surrender our research, or we can take everything we've learned and run." Marcus checked the station's modified systems. The fusion core hummed with potential. The fragment pulsed, almost like a heartbeat. "We're going to need a ship," he said simply. The cosmic game was changing. And humanity, or at least this small, determined group, was about to make its most audacious move yet. The universe watched. And waited. First contact. The ship they constructed was nothing like traditional spacecraft. Born from salvage, quantum technology, and sheer human determination, the vessel defied every known principle of engineering. Its hull seemed to shimmer, not with metallic reflection, but with an almost living quality that suggested more than mere mechanical construction. They called it the Horizon Breaker. Constructed from the remnants of failed expeditions and the mysterious quantum fragment, the ship was a testament to human ingenuity. Its systems, integrated with Aria's fusion core and the adaptive technology of the fragment, created something that was part machine, part living organism. "We're not just leaving," Elena told her team as they prepared for departure. "We're making a statement." The Interstellar Research Consortium's pursuit vessels were already approaching the orbital salvage station. Sleek, traditional craft designed for precision and control, everything their ship was not. Detection systems would struggle to categorize the horizon breaker. It existed in a state between technology and something entirely new. Zara's neural interface had become fully integrated with the ship's systems. Where traditional navigation relied on calculated trajectories, she could now feel the fabric of space itself, sensing potential paths, quantum possibilities that existed simultaneously. "There's something out there," she whispered as they prepared to launch. "Something that's been waiting." The launch was unlike any space departure in human history. Instead of a violent explosion of chemical propulsion, the horizon breaker seemed to simply shift. One moment within the station's protective barriers, the next suspended in the vast emptiness of space. No sound. No traditional thrust. Just movement that suggested space itself was bending around them. Their first encounter came unexpectedly. A massive vessel materialized, or perhaps it had always been there, existing in some quantum state between visibility and invisibility. Its design was organic, unlike any known alien architecture. Crystalline structures that seemed to breathe, hull sections that moved like living tissue. "Incoming transmission," Arya announced, its voice different now, more nuanced, carrying undertones of something almost emotional. The communication was not linguistic. It was a burst of pure information, mathematical sequences that spoke of potential, of a cosmic test being conducted across millennia. Humanity was being evaluated, and this ship, this impossible vessel cobbled together from discarded dreams, was their representative. Camel's hands danced across interfaces, translating the impossible. "They're not just communicating," he breathed. "They're assessing our capacity for adaptation." The alien vessel began to pulse with energy. Not as a threat, but as a form of interaction. Tendrils of quantum information reached out, probing the horizon breaker's systems. Each interaction was a test, a sophisticated examination of human technological potential. Marcus watched the energy exchanges with the eye of an engineer. "We're being measured," he said. "Not by our current capabilities, but by our potential to grow, to adapt." Elena understood then. This wasn't just first contact. This was a cosmic interview. The fragment they had discovered, it wasn't just technology. It was a key. A selection mechanism used by something far greater to identify species with the potential to transcend their current limitations. As quantum exchanges continued, the alien vessel began to reveal glimpses of something larger. Hints of a galactic ecosystem of intelligence that humanity had never imagined. Not a simple hierarchy, but a complex network of potential, with each civilization serving a unique role in a grand, intricate design. "We're not being invaded," Zara said, her consciousness expanding through the ship's quantum network. "We're being invited." The horizon breaker pulsed. The alien vessel responded. And somewhere in the vast cosmic silence, a door was opening, not just to another world, but to an entirely new understanding of existence. Humanity's first true step into the universe had begun. The Galactic Challenge. The quantum communication continued, transforming from a test to something more complex, a dialogue that transcended traditional understanding of interaction. The alien vessel, which they had come to recognize as a living probe of cosmic intelligence, began to reveal layers of information that challenged everything humanity thought they knew about the universe. "It's not just sharing knowledge," Camel explained, his eyes wide with a mixture of scientific excitement and philosophical revelation. "It's presenting us with a challenge." The challenge manifested as a series of increasingly complex technological scenarios. Each one pushed the horizon breaker's systems to their absolute limits. Quantum simulations that would have destroyed conventional spacecraft became puzzles for their adaptive technology to solve. Aria's fusion core, integrated so deeply with the quantum fragment, began to demonstrate capabilities that bordered on the miraculous. Energy patterns that could reconstruct matter, propulsion systems that could navigate through quantum probability spaces, defensive mechanisms that anticipated threats before they could materialize. We're being prepared, Elena realized, watching the intricate dance of energy and information. This isn't just first contact. It's a selection process. The Interstellar Research Consortium's pursuit had not ended. Multiple vessels now tracked the Horizon Breaker, their traditional systems struggling to even maintain a lock on the quantum-adaptive ship. Each attempt to approach was met with subtle quantum disruptions, not aggressive, but definitively protective. Marcus discovered the first true weapon of their new technology. When a consortium vessel attempted to launch a targeting system, the Horizon Breaker didn't destroy it. Instead, it simply relocated the entire ship. One moment present, the next existing in a completely different sector of space, utterly confused and disoriented. "We're not fighting," Zara explained, her consciousness now so integrated with the ship that the line between pilot and vessel had become blurred. "We're demonstrating a different approach to conflict." The alien probe continued its assessment. Scenarios became more complex. A simulated galactic conflict erupted around them, multiple civilizations, intricate political landscapes, technological challenges that would have overwhelmed any single species. The Horizon Breaker was expected to navigate not just the physical challenges, but the complex quantum interactions of potential outcomes. Their ship became a living algorithm, adapting in real time. Where traditional warfare relied on destruction, their responses were about redirection, transformation, finding solutions that didn't require conflict. "They're testing our problem-solving," Elena muttered, watching quantum simulations unfold. "Not our ability to fight, but our ability to resolve." The most profound moment came unexpectedly. In the middle of a complex scenario involving multiple conflicting species, the Horizon Breaker didn't choose sides. Instead, it began to generate solution matrices, quantum probability paths that showed potential resolutions that benefited all parties. The alien probe pulsed with what could only be described as appreciation. Camel's translation systems picked up something extraordinary. Not words, but a conceptual transmission that suggested, potential recognized. Adaptation confirmed. As the final simulation concluded, the Horizon Breaker had transformed. No longer just a ship, but a living testament to human potential. Its systems now carried the subtle imprint of something greater, a cosmic intelligence that had found in humanity a species worth noting. The consortium vessels that had been pursuing them were now completely lost. Quantum navigation had rendered their traditional tracking systems obsolete. "We're not going back," Elena said, looking at her team. "We're going forward." The universe had presented its challenge. And humanity had just begun to answer.